I remember the first time I set foot in Carnegie Hall. The polished wooden floors gleamed under the stage lights, and the scent of fresh varnish hung in the air. It felt surreal to be here, yet there I stood, a black boy from the Bronx, clutching my sheet music like a lifeline. The murmurs of the audience filled the hall. The anticipation was palpable. Mom's proud smile was all I could focus on as I took my place on the grand piano. I could see her from the corner of my eye, sitting near the front, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. But then laughter erupted from the back of the room. A rich, boisterous laugh that sliced through my calm. It came from a man in a tailored suit, accompanied by his entourage. I felt my heart race, not out of fear, but pure astonishment. "Is he really going to play?" someone whispered. I gripped the piano's rim, feeling the coolness of the keys beneath my fingertips. I could feel eyes on me, scrutinizing, judging. There was a tight knot in my stomach, but I had rehearsed too hard for moments like this. With a deep breath, I placed my fingers over the first key, my mind racing. I couldn't let that laughter define me. I pressed down, and with that first note, a single, strong D, I felt the room shift. The sound resonated, echoing off the walls, drowning out the laughter. My heart soared. This was my moment. The energy transformed instantly. Conversations halted. People turned to face me with wide eyes. I continued, letting the music carry me through the piece I had poured my soul into. The sonorous melody poured from me, wrapping around the audience. As I played, I glanced towards the man who had laughed. His demeanor shifted, his brow furrowed in disbelief, lips pressed tight. The sound of my notes seemed to challenge every assumption he had made about me, about my place here. Each note felt like a hammer striking a nail, each chord a careful construction of who I was, a boy with dreams too big for the narrow corridors of prejudice. I wasn't just playing, I was telling my story. When I finished my piece, the applause washed over me like a warm wave. I could see Mom's face beaming, tears glistening in her eyes. The laughter was gone, replaced by cheers and a few gasps of admiration. The man who had laughed looked stunned, his mouth slightly agape. In that moment, I realized I had not just stunned him. I'd challenged the narrative that had been imposed on me. I stepped back from the piano, heart racing, knowing this was just the beginning. Music wasn't just an escape, it was a declaration. As I took my bow, I felt the energy of the audience surge through me. My journey wasn't just about music, it was about breaking barriers and defying expectations. I had stood up, played my heart out, and in that glorious hall, I had made my mark. In the days that followed, the performance at Carnegie Hall reverberated in my mind. The applause still echoed, but so did the laughter that had ignited my fire. I couldn't shake the feeling that the world had shifted in that moment, that people might begin to see me differently. But I knew the reality. The struggle wouldn't end with a single performance. School was a whirlwind of emotions. Some kids congratulated me, while others looked at me with a mixture of envy and suspicion. "How did you get to play there?" they asked, their voices tinged with disbelief. Others whispered as I walked by, "He doesn't belong there," their words like arrows aimed at my confidence. But in the evenings when I returned home, I found solace at the piano. Each note was a reminder of who I was supposed to be, a reminder of the dreams that began long before that fateful day. Mom would sit on the couch, her features softened by the glow of the living room lamp, urging me to play. I could see the pride in her eyes, and that gave me strength. One evening, I noticed her studying me intently. "You know, sometimes people don't see beyond their own expectations," she said. "Your talent can shatter those walls." Her words became my mantra. I started composing my own pieces, incorporating the sounds of my neighborhood, the sirens, the laughter, the chatter. I wanted my music to tell our story, to reflect the reality we lived in. Writing music became not just practice, but an act of defiance against anyone who felt entitled to crown me with their judgments. Weeks passed, and I received a phone call that shook me, an invitation to perform at a local charity gala. The keyboard at the gala was a stark contrast to the grand piano at Carnegie Hall. This time, I was less nervous. I held on to my newfound confidence. On that night, my fingers danced over the keys, melodies pouring from me that were both haunting and hopeful. The audience listened intently, many leaning forward as if trying to grasp every note. Toward the back, I caught sight of the same man who had laughed. He was there, much quieter this time, but the judgment was still etched in his face. I aimed to play past him, reaching for those who had come to hear my story, who needed to feel every note in their bones. As my final chord faded, I took a deep breath. The applause was more thunderous than I could have imagined, drowning out any doubts. For a brief moment, the world felt equal. I left the stage buoyed by the waves of acceptance from those who truly understood what it meant to overcome. Later, as I walked through the venue, I spotted the man again. He approached me, and this time there was a different light in his eyes. "I was wrong," he said simply, extending his hand. "You belong." I shook his hand, feeling the weight of those words sink in. I wasn't just a boy from the Bronx. I was a bridge between worlds. I learned in that instant that art has the power to alter perceptions, to dissolve barriers. But even as I celebrated, I knew the true challenge lay ahead. I had begun to show the world who I was, but I still had to navigate a path fraught with obstacles, judgments, and expectations. Each performance would be a step further down that journey, a constant reminder that acceptance, while powerful, wasn't always guaranteed. With renewed determination, I returned home that night. The piano awaited, silent yet beckoning. In the depths of my heart, I knew I had many more stories to tell. It wasn't just about creating music, it was about creating change. The days turned into weeks, and I embraced every opportunity to share my music. Each performance became not just an exhibition of talent, but a chance to connect with people. I started to notice changes in myself. Confidence was becoming second nature, and my compositions were growing deeper. One afternoon, while practicing at home, I received a call from a local music studio inviting me to record a track. My heart raced at the thought. Recording meant capturing a piece of my soul, sharing my story with the world. Yet, that excitement was tinged with anxiety. What if the world didn't resonate with my music? I walked into the studio, the atmosphere buzzing with creativity. The engineer, a friendly man named Greg, welcomed me and led me to a grand piano. The room was packed with instruments and sound boards, overwhelming yet exhilarating. I sat down, fingers grazing the keys as I closed my eyes, envisioning this as my chance to break through barriers. "You just play what's in your heart," Greg encouraged. "Let it flow." As I began, each note came alive, echoing the experiences that shaped me, the joyous moments, the struggles, and the laughter that once stung my pride. I poured everything into that recording, channeling my past, my journey, and the dreams that danced in my mind. When the session ended, I felt a mixture of relief and euphoria. That night, I lay in bed listening to the playback, my heart lifting with each crescendo. It was more than music. It was a saga, a declaration of my existence. But then doubt crept in. What if people only heard the color of my skin instead of the melody of my heart? A few days later, as the track was released online, I shared it on social media. The initial response was overwhelming. Friends and family rallied in support, flooding my notifications with kind words. "You belong here," they wrote. But amidst the praise, I spotted a comment that chilled me to the bone. Just another overpriced piano player trying to sound deep. I stared at the screen, heart sinking. It felt like a punch to the gut, and for a moment I considered retreating. But then I remembered the laughter at Carnegie Hall, the moment I transformed skepticism into awe. I had faced down judgment before. I couldn't let it silence me now. Determined, I decided to organize a community concert, a chance to involve local artists and musicians. I wanted to celebrate the diversity of our talents and create an environment where everyone felt seen, regardless of background. I gathered friends and we started spreading the word. We set a date and secured a small outdoor venue in the park, a space familiar to many in our neighborhood. As the concert day approached, I was hit with a mix of excitement and nerves. The reality of putting myself out there again was both thrilling and terrifying. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly, casting a golden glow over the park. I stepped onto the stage, feeling the cool breeze against my skin. The crowd grew, families, friends, strangers all coming together. I introduced myself and shared my vision, my determination to create a space where nobody felt like an outsider. As the first notes rang out, I was enveloped in the warmth of the moment. Each musician who stepped up to perform added their unique voice, creating a tapestry of sounds that resonated throughout the park. Amidst the joyful chaos, I spotted the man from Carnegie Hall standing at the back, a small smile tugging at his lips. This moment felt different. There was no judgment in his gaze, only a sense of wonder. I played with all my heart, connecting with the audience. For those fleeting hours, it didn't matter who we were or where we came from. What mattered was that we were together, fully present. As the final notes faded and the applause erupted, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I realized that while challenges would continue to come, I had built something profound. My stories, my music, my drive to connect, none of it would be in vain. We were creating a community, a place of acceptance. That night I lay in bed, my heart full, filled with gratitude for every person who had stood with me. My journey was just beginning, and I knew I had many more notes left to play. Each moment, each experience was shaping the song of my life, one note at a time. The concert had ignited a fire within me, a desire to reach even more people through my music. I realized that this wasn't just about personal triumph anymore. It was about community, connection, and uplifting every voice that had ever been silenced. In the following weeks, I would often find myself at the piano, composing new pieces inspired by the stories I heard from my neighbors, friends, and fellow musicians. It was in these conversations that I discovered the depth of our shared experiences. Everyone had their own struggles, dreams, and music, and I was determined to weave them together into something greater. One rainy afternoon, I decided to invite a few friends over for a jam session. I wanted to explore collaboration and see how different musical backgrounds could merge. As everyone gathered in my small living room, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. I introduced some of my new compositions, and we began to play. It was magical. The blend of melodies and rhythms formed a unique harmony that transcended our individual styles. We laughed, experimented, and explored new musical territories. In that space, barriers vanished, and creativity flowed freely. We recognized that together, we were creating something that could touch hearts far beyond our neighborhood. As the session progressed, I felt a nudge of inspiration to put together an EP, a small collection of songs encapsulating our shared experiences. Each track would tell a story of resilience, love, and hope. I proposed the idea to the group, and the enthusiasm was instantly contagious. We could record at a local studio, showcasing not just my story, but the voices of everyone involved. After weeks of intense rehearsals, we secured a weekend at the studio. I'll never forget how energized we felt as we took turns laying down tracks, pouring our souls into the music. The studio buzzed with laughter and creativity, and despite the long hours, the energy never waned. With every chord played, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. It wasn't merely about proving myself anymore. It was about giving others the chance to shine, to share their stories through a shared musical journey. Each note became a testament to our collective strength. Once the recording was complete, we debated over a release party. We wanted it to be more than just an album launch. It had to be a celebration of our community. We planned an event in the very park where we had held the concert, inviting everyone, the friends we had made, the families that lived nearby, everyone who had a stake in the story we were telling. On the day of the event, the air was crisp and alive with energy. I stood by the entrance, greeting everyone who arrived. It was incredible to see the diverse crowd gathering, people from different backgrounds, races, and life stories. There was an unspoken understanding that this was a moment to cherish, a recognition of our unity through music. The performances began and the atmosphere vibrated with enthusiasm. I could feel the energy building as people cheered for one another, applauding not just the skills, but the essence of the stories being told. When it was finally our turn, I took a deep breath, my heart racing, and stepped onto the stage once more. As the first notes of our EP filled the air, I looked out at the diverse sea of faces watching us. Each melody struck a chord, connecting with the audience as they swayed, danced, and sang along. It felt like we were all part of something larger, a movement fueled by hope and resilience. Halfway through the performance, I spotted the man from Carnegie Hall again, standing near the front, a genuine smile brightening his face. In that moment, I understood the power of transformation. The laughter had evolved into respect, and the judgment had turned into admiration. Music had the ability to open hearts, bridge gaps, and dissolve preconceptions. When we finished our final song, the applause was deafening. I took a moment to soak it all in, the faces lit up by joy, the connections made, the stories we had woven together. I raised my arms in triumph, and the crowd responded with cheers. I stepped off the stage, my spirit soaring. As I mingled with old friends and new, I realized that I wasn't just a boy playing the piano anymore. I was part of something significant. Together, we had created a movement, a symphony of voices that resonated with the truths we all shared. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the park, I took a moment to reflect. This journey had been challenging and exhilarating, pushing me beyond my limits. Yet it was just the beginning. I felt the thrill of many more stories waiting to be told, waiting to be set to music. And with every note, I would continue to bridge worlds, one beat at a time. The days following the release party felt electric. News of our EP spread throughout the community, drawing attention and support from local radio stations and newspapers. It was surreal to hear our songs playing on the air, a tribute to our collective journey and the individuals who had shared their stories with me. As the momentum built, I received another call, this time from a regional music festival inviting us to perform. Excitement and apprehension surged through me. Performing live had become a passion, but the thought of being on a larger stage amidst numerous talented artists filled me with a whirlwind of emotions. The day of the festival arrived, and I found myself backstage, surrounded by seasoned musicians and an audience buzzing with anticipation. My fingers fidgeted nervously, but I reminded myself of all we had achieved and the stories we carried. This was not just about me, it was about everybody, the musicians who had joined me, the community that supported us. As I stepped onto the stage, the bright lights momentarily blinded me. When my eyes adjusted, I saw a sea of faces. I took a deep breath, feeling the energy radiate from the crowd. Their enthusiasm renewed my confidence. I launched into our first song, the one that echoed the trials and triumphs we had all faced together. With each note, I could see people responding, some swaying, others singing along. It was like holding a mirror to the audience, reflecting our shared experiences. Each chord resonated with emotions that flowed freely, uniting us in an unforgettable moment of camaraderie. Midway through our set, I noticed a group of teenagers in the front row, completely immersed in the performance. Their smiles mirrored the joy I felt inside. I could see their carefree spirits shining through, and it inspired me to push even harder, to reach for something deeper. As we finished our final song, the cheers were deafening. The exhilaration coursing through my veins was indescribable. We had transformed a simple performance into a cathartic release, a celebration of resilience and unity. Together, we had created a powerful sonic tapestry that would linger in the hearts of everyone present. Later, as I stepped off the stage, I was met with beaming faces from my friends and fellow musicians. We embraced, reveling in the triumph of our shared passion. But deep down, I felt a new sense of purpose blooming within me. This was more than just performing. It was about inspiring others to find their voices and tell their stories. I was approached by a couple of festival organizers, eager to discuss future opportunities. They were impressed not just by our music, but by the authenticity of our messages. "We want to help you reach more communities," one of them said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I felt a rush of gratitude. It was an affirmation that our work was not only needed but appreciated. As the festival wound down, I lingered a bit longer, soaking in the atmosphere. I watched fellow artists interacting with their supporters, bonding over shared dreams and creative aspirations. It reinforced my belief that the arts held a powerful role in shaping lives and fostering understanding. That night, as I lay in bed reflecting on everything, I felt a pang of determination wash over me. There was still so much to accomplish, so many stories to tell. I wanted to expand our reach, finding avenues to uplift more voices and build stronger connections. Inspired by the festival, I organized workshops at local schools, introducing music as a tool for self-expression. I wanted others to feel what I had experienced, the empowerment that came from sharing one's story. Slowly, kids began to appreciate their unique backgrounds, each bringing their own rhythm and narrative to the collective fold. Through these workshops, I witnessed transformations. Shy students became artists, introverted teens found community, and bastions of creativity sprouted from unexpected places. The joy I saw in their faces lit a fire within me, reminding me why I began this journey in the first place. One day during a session, I spotted Jordan, one of the quieter kids, hesitantly approaching the piano. I urged him on, encouraging him to share what was in his heart. As he began to play, his nervousness dissolved and pure music flowed from him. It was raw, unfiltered, and captivating. I realized then that our community was not just about me sharing my voice. It was a collective of vibrant narratives waiting to be unveiled. As the weeks turned into months, I realized that our music had shifted from a solo act to a chorus of voices echoing through the streets of our neighborhood. We were no longer just a group of individuals sharing the same space. We were a family bound by experiences, creativity, and resilience. I knew I had found my purpose in this journey, not just to play music, but to ignite a passion in others, to become a conductor of stories that would inspire and uplift. The piano we shared became a bridge connecting our hearts, and I embraced the role I had taken on, that of a storyteller, a musician, and a mentor. And so I prepared for the next chapter, ready to intertwine our narratives into something bigger than myself. Music had become our universal language, and together, we would resonate with the world, one story at a time. The workshops had cultivated a vibrant atmosphere where creativity thrived, but deep down, I knew that something bigger was brewing. I wanted to harness the collective energy of our community and create an event that showcased the talents of everyone involved. It would be a celebration, a music festival of our own. I rallied my friends and fellow musicians to help me organize the festival. We brainstormed ideas, from food stands featuring local cuisines to art displays from budding artists. We wanted to create a space that would reflect the richness of our diverse community. As we began planning, excitement grew. We set a date for early summer when the days would be long and warm. The park that had seen our beginnings would be our venue again, a perfect backdrop for our ambitions. We formed committees, dividing responsibilities for logistics, marketing, and programming. Every week, we met to discuss our progress, pooling our ideas and energy into this dream. As the date approached, we reached out to local businesses for sponsorships and support. Surprisingly, many were eager to contribute. They believed in our mission, the idea of uplifting and celebrating our community through music and art. Donations of food, equipment, and supplies came pouring in, giving us the resources we needed to make the festival a reality. In the weeks leading up to the event, we worked tirelessly. Posters went up around the neighborhood, spreading the word and generating buzz. Social media became a powerful tool as we shared sneak peeks of what to expect. People began asking for details, and their enthusiasm fueled our determination. As the day of the festival arrived, I awoke to the sound of birds chirping, a clear sky stretching overhead. My heart raced with anticipation. I arrived at the park early to help set things up, and the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Colorful banners lined the path, vendors set up their stalls, and volunteers eagerly directed foot traffic. Seeing everything come together felt surreal. We were no longer just a group of friends, we were a movement, a collective force energizing our community through creativity. As the sun climbed higher, the first performers took the stage, and I watched in awe as raw talent poured forth. Each act brought something unique, a glimpse into their lives, their struggles, and their dreams. As the afternoon unfolded, our crowd grew. Families brought picnic blankets, friends rallied to cheer each other on, and children twirled joyfully in the sun. I wandered between the stages, soaking in the atmosphere, feeling the pulse of our community in every song. But the highlight was yet to come. As the sun began to set, our final act approached, the culmination of our collective efforts. I stood backstage, heart pounding, ready to take the stage with my fellow musicians. Our EP would be played live for the first time as a full ensemble, a testament to the journeys we had embarked on together. When we stepped onto the stage, the cheers erupted, washing over us like a wave. I glanced at the crowd and saw familiar faces, friends, and family, all here to support us. As we began to play, I felt the energy shift. We were no longer just musicians, we were storytellers, sharing the very essence of who we were. Our music echoed through the park, reverberating in the hearts of those gathered. The audience swayed, clapped, and sang along, becoming part of our story. As we reached the final chorus, the energy peaked, the exuberance palpable. People rushed toward the stage, arms lifted high, joining in a collective moment that would linger in our memories. As we took a bow, the applause thundered, illuminating the connection we had forged together. It was a celebration of resilience, creativity, and unity. I felt gratitude wash over me, a profound appreciation for every note played, every story shared, and every life touched. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant hues, I found a quiet moment to reflect. This festival had become more than just an event. It was a beacon of hope, a reminder of what we could achieve together. Every person who attended mattered. We had created a space where stories were not only welcomed but celebrated. In the weeks that followed, the impact of our festival rippled through the community. Connections formed unexpectedly. Local artists collaborated on projects, musicians found new friends, and children discovered their voices. Conversations flowed with excitement, and our neighborhood buzzed with a renewed sense of creativity and possibility. As I looked around at the faces of my friends and fellow creators, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Together, we had crafted a moment that would live on in our hearts. I understood in that moment that I had not only found my voice but had also become a catalyst for others. With a full heart and an invigorated spirit, I set my sights on what lay ahead. More events, more stories, and an unyielding commitment to continue fostering our community through the power of music. The journey had only just begun, and I was ready to embrace every note, every connection, and every story that awaited. The success of the festival breathed new life into the community. Inspired by the spirit of creativity, we began organizing regular jam sessions in the park, encouraging people of all ages to join in, share their music, and connect. It transformed into a weekly ritual. Families would bring their instruments, friends would gather to support one another, and laughter filled the air. One afternoon, as I played alongside some younger musicians, I noticed a girl sitting cross-legged on the grass, watching intently. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old, her eyes wide with curiosity. After finishing a song, I approached her. "Do you play?" I asked, smiling. She hesitated, shaking her head. "I don't know how," she whispered. "Would you like to learn?" I asked, sincerity in my voice. Her eyes lit up at the suggestion, and I invited her to sit with me on the bench. As we talked, I learned her name was Zara. She had always loved music but didn't feel she had the talent to play. I shared my own struggles, the doubts that had seeped into my mind during my journey. "It's not about being perfect, it's about expressing yourself," I told her. Zara nodded, her enthusiasm bubbling over. That day, I started teaching her simple chords, and her fingers tentatively danced over the keys. The sheer joy on her face reminded me why I had started this journey in the first place. Music was a language we could all speak, a gateway to connection. Over the weeks, Zara became a staple at our sessions, her confidence blossoming. She began inviting her friends, and soon, I found myself mentoring a small group of kids, teaching them the basics of music theory and songwriting. Watching their creativity unfold brought me immense satisfaction. As our community grew, I decided it was time to put on another event, but this one would be different. We would showcase the talents of the younger musicians alongside the more seasoned performers. It would be a family-oriented festival, merging generations through the universal language of music. Planning the event became a community effort. Parents volunteered, and local businesses jumped on board to provide support. It started as an idea but quickly transformed into a collaborative movement, a celebration of diverse talent, and a reminder that everyone has a story worth sharing. The day of the event blossomed into something magical. Families filled the park, children darting between food stalls, laughter reverberating in the warm summer air. I stood on stage, watching the younger kids perform. Their excitement was palpable, their voices echoing with hope and dreams. Zara's group was up next, and as they gathered nervously around the microphone, I felt a surge of pride. I remembered my own fears, how far I had come. They launched into their song, their voices harmonizing beautifully. The audience cheered, and I could see the joy radiating from them. It was a moment of triumph, a testament to the power of encouragement and community support. After their performance, I stepped back on stage to share a few words. "This festival is a celebration of all of us," I began. "Every note, every song, every story matters. This is how we connect with one another." As I spoke, I reflected on the transformative journey we had taken together, how music had woven us together, creating a tapestry of voices that could fill any space with hope and understanding. The crowd erupted in applause, and I felt a sense of belonging wash over me. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, I couldn't help but feel gratitude for every person who had played a role in this journey. Each individual, Zara, the kids, my friends, had contributed to something larger than ourselves. After the final performance of the evening, a local band took the stage and began to play upbeat tunes, inviting everyone to join in a communal celebration. The park came alive with movement, families dancing, friends embracing, laughter ringing out through the air. I looked around, the energy vibrant and filled with joy. Here, amidst the dancing and connection, I could see what we had built together. The foundation of community, creativity, and love resonated in every corner. We had created spaces where music thrived, dreams blossomed, and everyone felt valued. In that moment, I realized that my journey was ongoing. I was no longer just a boy playing the piano. I had become a part of a larger story, one that continued to unfold with each passing day. As I joined in the celebration, the music surrounding me felt like a promise to keep creating, keep connecting, and keep sharing the stories that bind us together. With the stars twinkling overhead, I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and let the music flow through me, knowing that our journey was just beginning. As the festivities wound down, I felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The park, once just a place where I had played alone, had transformed into a vibrant hub of creativity and community. As families began to pack up and head home, I lingered, savoring the energy of the day. In the days that followed, I found myself reflecting on the journey, the challenges, the laughter, and the connections that had formed along the way. I wanted to capture these experiences in a way that would last beyond the fleeting moments of the festivals and workshops. Inspired, I began writing a book, my stories interwoven with those of community members. I envisioned a collection of narratives showcasing the power of music to inspire and unite. I wanted readers to feel the emotions that had propelled me forward, to understand that everyone has a song worth telling. Every evening I sat at my piano, the rhythmic tapping of keys amplifying my thoughts as I crafted stories. I began with my own tale, how I found music, the laughter of the crowd at Carnegie Hall, and the doubts that had shaped my path. I remembered Zara, the timid girl who transformed into a confident performer, and I included her journey as a shining example of how connection could ignite passion in others. I dedicated chapters to my friends and fellow musicians, their struggles and triumphs, painted alongside their musical influences. Each person's narrative became a vital thread in the tapestry of our community. As I wrote, I felt a sense of purpose emerging. This wasn't just my story, but a celebration of everyone whose lives were touched by music. After weeks of writing, I shared my draft with a few close friends for feedback. Their encouragement propelled me forward, and soon I was sending the manuscript out to publishers. The response was quicker than I anticipated. An independent publisher expressed interest, captivated by the theme of interconnectedness through music. As we finalized the details, I realized this journey was about more than just my individual achievements. It was about amplifying the voices of those who might otherwise go unheard. It was about giving a platform to the stories that resonated within our community. The day finally arrived when I held a printed copy of my book in hand. The weight of it felt monumental, not just as a reflection of my work, but as a tribute to everyone who had inspired me along the way. I was overwhelmed with gratitude. To celebrate the launch, I organized a gathering at the park. It was more than a book launch. It was an opportunity to share the collective journey we had undertaken. I invited everyone who had contributed to the book, along with friends, family, and supportive community members. As dusk settled over the park, candles illuminated the area as I stood before the gathering. Holding my book, I felt a wave of emotion wash over me. "This isn't just my story," I began. "It's a reflection of our shared experiences, our dreams, and the power of connection through music. Thank you for being a part of this journey." I read excerpts, sharing personal stories intertwined with the voices of my friends. The audience listened intently, their expressions washing over me with encouragement. I could see familiar faces illuminated by the soft glow of candles, each one representing a piece of my journey. After I finished reading, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Music floated through the air as fellow musicians took to the stage, performing songs that echoed the themes of love, hope, and resilience woven throughout the book. As they played, I felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. Each chord resonated with the stories we had shared and celebrated. Children danced, adults sang along, and laughter mingled with music. It was a testament to the transformative power of community and creativity. As the night unfolded, people began to share their own stories. A mother spoke about how music had helped her daughter find her voice. An older gentleman reminisced about the days when music had been his lifeline. Each narrative added depth to the evening, creating a shared tapestry of experiences among all who attended. As the event drew to a close, I marveled at the connections we had forged and the stories being shared. I realized that this was just the beginning. Our community was a living, breathing entity with endless potential for growth, creativity, and connection. That night, as I walked home, I felt invigorated. I had not only launched a book, I had sparked an ongoing dialogue in our community. The journey ahead was brimming with possibilities, and the rhythm of our stories would continue to echo, creating a melody of resilience that could inspire others far beyond our neighborhood. With each step, I envisioned future events, new stories, and the countless ways we would continue to connect through music. A deep sense of commitment surged within me. I would dedicate my life to fostering these connections, ensuring that every voice was heard and every story had its place in the ongoing symphony of our shared journey. The days turned into weeks as the book gained momentum within the community. Its release sparked conversations and reflections on the importance of music in shaping our identities and experiences. People began reaching out, sharing how the stories had resonated with them, igniting a new wave of inspiration. One evening, as I sat with my laptop at the piano, I received a message from a local high school. They wanted to invite me to speak to their students about the power of music and storytelling. I felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Speaking in front of a younger audience would be different, but I saw it as an opportunity to inspire the next generation. The day of the presentation arrived. I stood in front of a group of eager students, their faces a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "Music," I began, "is more than just sound. It's a form of expression that can connect us to our past, reflect our present, and influence our future." I shared not only my story, but the stories of others from the book. I encouraged them to see the beauty in their own experiences, to understand that their stories mattered, regardless of their circumstances. I emphasized the importance of collaboration, how together we could create something beautiful and meaningful. As I played some of my compositions, I noticed heads bobbing, fingers tapping, and the room coming alive with energy. After the presentation, several students approached me, eager to talk. One girl introduced herself as Emily and expressed her love for poetry. I suggested combining her poetry with music, and her eyes lit up with possibilities. "Can you help me?" she asked, her voice hopeful. "Of course," I replied, my heart swelling with excitement. "Let's make something together." Over the next few weeks, we began working on a piece that blended her words with my melodies. Emily's expressions were raw and heartfelt, capturing her teenage struggles and aspirations. As we collaborated, I nurtured not just her musical talent, but her confidence. Others soon joined us, and our small group quickly grew into a collective of aspiring artists. I was thrilled to see that creativity was blossoming. Students began sharing their own music, lyrics, and art, creating an environment where everyone felt free to express themselves. With each session, our group became more dynamic. We discussed themes that resonated within us: identity, dreams, and the significance of community. I encouraged everyone to draw inspiration from their personal stories, and the power of vulnerability filled the room. As our work progressed, the idea of showcasing our creations began to take shape. We organized a youth talent show, giving students the chance to present their works to the community. It was an opportunity for them to take center stage, allowing their voices to resonate beyond the school walls. On the night of the show, the auditorium was packed with friends, family, and supportive teachers. I stood backstage, watching the nervous anticipation on my students' faces. With each passing act, I felt pride swell in my chest. They were stepping out of their comfort zones and embracing the moment. When Emily took the stage, I could hardly breathe. She stood confidently, clutching her notes. As soon as she began, her voice flowed like a river, powerful and free. Her poem, surrounded by my piano accompaniment, painted vivid pictures of her life and dreams, captivating everyone present. The audience was mesmerized, their applause erupting as she finished. Afterward, I stepped onto the stage, ready to share my gratitude for the amazing talent before me. "Tonight isn't just about performance," I said. "It's about the courage to share our stories and our truth. This is what community looks like, supporting one another and creating together." The crowd cheered louder than I had anticipated, and I felt a wave of joy wash over me. These students were not just performers, they were storytellers, and they had sparked something beautiful within the community. As the talent show concluded, the conversations that flowed were filled with excitement and encouragement. Parents approached me with tears in their eyes, thanking me for inspiring their children. Seeing the happiness in their faces, I understood the profound impact we were making. In the weeks following the show, I continued to work with the students, growing our collective into a full-fledged youth music program. We began weekly workshops to explore songwriting, composition, and performance. The energy was infectious, the bond within our group strengthened, and we welcomed newcomers with open arms. We began planning a bigger event, a community talent festival featuring not just our program's students, but also local artists and groups. The idea of sharing our stories and showcasing our community's diversity excited everyone, and we set a date for the festival. As we organized, enthusiasm spread like wildfire. Flyers went up, social media thrived, and even local businesses offered to help sponsor the event. I knew this was becoming something extraordinary, a platform for voices to be heard, stories to be shared, and connections to be forged. On the day of the festival, I watched as our park transformed into a vibrant hub filled with laughter, music, and creativity. Families gathered, vendors set up stalls, and artists prepared for their performances. I felt a sense of belonging, a realization that we had built something beautiful together. As I took the stage to welcome everyone, I looked out at the sea of faces, old friends and new community members and lively children. "Today, we celebrate our voices," I began, my heart racing with anticipation. "Each performance is a reminder that music and art can unite us, no matter our backgrounds." With the sun shining brightly, the festival kicked off, filled with uplifting performances that resonated with joy and laughter. I felt gratitude for this vibrant community, the very heartbeat of our stories. When our students took the stage, I stood at the side, beaming with pride. Their voices rang out in harmony, weaving together the fabric of their experiences. Each performance was authentic, filled with passion, and I could see how far they had come, how much they had grown. As the festival progressed, I recognized the profound impact our work had created. With every note played, every story told, we built bridges across our differences and celebrated our shared humanity. It wasn't just about music. It was about fostering connections through creativity. As the sun began to set, casting golden rays across the park, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. This journey had expanded far beyond what I had ever imagined. We were nurturing a generation of artists, empowering them to express themselves and share their truths. Amidst the joy of the day, I took a moment to appreciate the journey that had led us here, the laughter, the struggles, the connections woven into a tapestry of shared experiences. Each musician, artist, and storyteller had played a crucial role in creating something beautiful. As the final act closed the festival, I glanced around at the happy faces in the crowd. I knew we had created a movement, one that would continue to inspire others, allowing our community to flourish through the power of music and storytelling. With a heart brimming with gratitude, I envisioned the future. We would keep creating and connecting, ensuring that every voice had a place in our story. The melodies would linger in the air, resonating with the beautiful truth that together, we could uplift one another and create a world filled with hope. Chapter 16, a symphony of voices. As the echoes of the festival began to fade, I found myself lost in thought, contemplating the journey we had taken together. The laughter, the music, and the stories shared resonated deeply within me. It wasn't just a single event. It felt like the beginning of an ongoing dialogue within our community, a commitment to fostering creativity and connection. In the days following the festival, excitement lingered in the air. The success of the event had inspired us to expand our efforts. We brainstormed the idea of monthly showcases, ensuring that local artists and emerging talents had a platform to share their work. This would not just support musicians, but also provide a space for poets, dancers, and visual artists. We envisioned a kaleidoscope of creativity coming together, reflecting the richness of our diverse community. That planning meeting became a pivotal moment. We gathered in my living room, surrounded by instruments, notepads, and an abundance of energy. Everyone present was invested, eager to contribute ideas and suggestions. "Let's make each showcase a theme," one student proposed. "We can highlight different cultures, experiences, or even genres of music." I felt a spark of inspiration ignite within the group. We began mapping out the themes for the upcoming showcases, celebrations of various cultures, storytelling events, and even collaborative performances where different art forms would intertwine. The possibilities seemed endless. We decided on a date for our first themed showcase, centering it around the theme of home, exploring the different meanings people ascribe to it. I encouraged everyone to reflect on their own journeys, to share their unique perspectives on what home meant to them. This was an opportunity for artists to dig deep within themselves, crafting performances that resonated with their truths. As the showcase drew closer, I witnessed the growth and evolution of our group's talents. Zara had developed her confidence even further, ready to step into the spotlight once more with a powerful poem that encapsulated her views on belonging. Emily continued to write beautifully, and together we collaborated on a song that merged her lyrics with melodies I had crafted. The night of the showcase arrived, and the venue buzzed with excitement. The atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation. Friends and family filled the seats, creating a warm, supportive environment. I stood backstage, heart racing, as I listened to the sounds of laughter and chatter mixed with the faint melodies of warm-up exercises. Each act brought a new energy to the stage, and I felt the pride swell inside me with every performance. Stories unfolded through spoken word, music, and dance, weaving a rich tapestry that showcased the myriad dimensions of what home could mean. It was an emotional experience, and I found myself captivated by the raw honesty emanating from each performer. Finally, it was time for Zara to take the stage. As she stepped into the spotlight, I held my breath, hoping the audience would see the talent I had come to admire so deeply. She began reciting her poem, her voice steady and clear, weaving vivid imagery about her journey and what home represented to her. Each line carried a weight of emotion that enveloped the room, and as she finished, the applause was deafening. Next came Emily and me. As we started our song, I glanced around and saw friends singing along, smiles on their faces. The chorus was a celebration of community, love, and connection. The crowd clapped along, the energy soaring. It was as if we were all part of something greater, a collective heartbeat resonating through the space. As the final act concluded, I stepped onto the stage once more. Standing there, I looked out at the radiant faces in the audience. Tonight, we've celebrated what it means to be home. Our stories, our struggles, our triumphs, all shared through this beautiful art, I said, my voice filled with emotion. The audience erupted into cheers and applause, and I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. This was more than just a showcase. It was a testament to the power of storytelling and creativity in connecting us all. We weren't just a group of artists performing. We were a community that had come together to uplift and inspire one another. After the event, people lingered, mingling and discussing the performances. I overheard conversations about how powerful the stories had been, how they had connected with different aspects of their own lives. The connections formed that night felt rich and profound, leaving an indelible mark on everyone present. As we began to clean up, I couldn't shake the feeling of excitement for what lay ahead. The monthly showcases had planted a seed, and I knew we could grow together in ways we hadn't even imagined. Each event would not only showcase talent, but also create an ongoing dialogue, a space for vulnerability, expression, and unity. I began considering collaboration with local organizations, inviting them to join us in promoting creativity and the arts. By forming partnerships, we could reach even more people, expanding our initiative beyond our immediate community. Days turned into weeks, and soon the second showcase was upon us. This time, I invited community leaders to share their thoughts on the significance of art in promoting unity. It was rewarding to see our efforts gaining traction, drawing people from different backgrounds and experiences together. As I stood backstage listening to the vibrant sounds coming from the audience, I realized that this journey had blossomed into a powerful movement. And beneath it all lay the simple act of sharing stories through music, dance, and art, creating a symphony of voices that would resound within our community for years to come. As I picked up my guitar and began to strum a few chords, I couldn't help but smile. Our community had breathed life into the phrase, "Everyone has a song worth telling." No longer were we just individual voices, we were a collective melody, harmonizing beautifully as we moved forward together. The future was bright, and I embraced the possibilities ahead: new stories to tell, new connections to foster, and an unwavering commitment to ensure that everyone's voice was heard, one note at a time. Chapter 17, The Ripple Effect. As the showcases continued, the ripple effect of our combined efforts began to spread beyond our initial community. The stories shared and the talent showcased reached new audiences, drawing recognition from local media and even neighboring towns. The buzz built, and I realized that the movement we had ignited was resonating with people who craved connection and creativity. One afternoon, while reviewing messages in our community group, I saw a notification from a local newspaper expressing interest in featuring our program. They wanted to highlight how we were fostering artistic expression and building community through music. The prospect of this recognition thrilled me, but I also felt a healthy dose of apprehension. What if they didn't understand the depth of our work? What if they reduced our multifaceted stories to mere headlines? I shared my concerns with our group, and together, we decided that if we were going to step into the spotlight, we had to ensure our message was clear and authentic. We spent the next few days brainstorming key themes we wanted to convey. It was vital for us to communicate that our program wasn't just about music. It was about empowerment, inclusivity, and the transformative power of shared narratives. We wanted to present ourselves as a multifaceted tapestry, each thread representing a different voice, story, and experience. As the day for the interview approached, the entire group felt a mix of excitement and nerves. We prepared talking points and even drafted a few delightful stories from our showcases that resonated broadly, emphasizing the connections we had fostered. When the journalist arrived, the atmosphere was buzzing with energy. I introduced her to our young artists, encouraging them to share their stories firsthand. As they spoke, I witnessed their confidence blossom. Each student articulated their experiences beautifully, highlighting how our program had provided them with a safe space to explore their identities and creativity. After the interview, as we took a group photo, I felt a wave of pride wash over me. The image captured not just individuals but the spirit of community we had cultivated. I knew that this was just one step in our journey, but it felt monumental nonetheless. A few weeks later, the article was published, and I was eager to see how our stories were portrayed. As I read it, I felt tears prick my eyes. The journalist had beautifully captured the essence of our program, showcasing not just the music but the heart behind each story. The article resonated with the message we aspired to convey, and I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude toward our community and the roles we had each played. Almost immediately, I noticed an influx of messages from people expressing interest in attending our workshops and showcases. New families began to arrive, eager to join this vibrant circle of creativity. I felt a renewed sense of excitement and purpose as our little movement was beginning to resonate beyond our immediate neighborhood. As new faces joined our sessions, I welcomed them with open arms. I could see the enthusiasm in their eyes, the same spark that had ignited in myself not so long ago. This growth was not just about numbers, it was about enriching our community with more diverse stories and experiences. One day, a mother approached me after a workshop. Her son Leo had recently joined us and discovered a passion for music. She shared how he had been struggling with confidence and self-expression. "This place has changed him," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "He's found his voice here, and it's incredible to see him light up when he plays." Her words struck me deeply. It was moments like these that reinforced the importance of what we were building. I wanted every child to feel that same spark of belonging and empowerment, to recognize that their stories were valuable and needed in the world. As time passed, our showcases evolved into larger productions, featuring a variety of art forms. We collaborated with local dancers, visual artists, and poets to create dynamic performances that wove together the diverse threads of our shared narratives. Each event became an immersive experience, inviting audiences into a world where creativity could flourish. One evening, we organized a special showcase titled Voices Unbound, an evening dedicated to celebrating stories of resilience and triumph among individuals who had faced adversity. We invited local advocates and speakers to share their journeys alongside our performers, creating an atmosphere of unity and reflection. As I watched the event unfold, I felt a profound sense of connection. Each story echoed with the theme of overcoming challenges and finding one's voice. The audience sat in rapt attention, absorbing the narratives shared from the stage. Toward the end of the night, I took the stage, ready to reflect on what had transpired. Tonight, we've seen the beauty of resilience and the power of artistry, I began, looking out at the warm faces glowing under the lights. Each of us has a story worth sharing, and together we are breaking down barriers and building connections. The audience erupted into applause, and I felt humbled by the impact of our collective effort. As we closed the evening with an uplifting performance, the energy in the room reverberated with hope and solidarity. In the aftermath, we received emails from families wanting to participate, eager to share their own stories and talents. The movement we had started was morphing into something larger than we had ever imagined, a community united through creativity, connection, and empathy. Emboldened by this momentum, I began envisioning future projects. We could collaborate with schools, offering workshops that extended beyond our community, a way to inspire even more young artists and storytellers. The thought filled me with excitement, and I shared the idea with our collective. Everyone rallied behind it, brainstorming ways we could reach out. We sought grants for funding, partners for collaboration, and local businesses willing to support our efforts. As we prepared for this next chapter, I couldn't help but feel that the possibilities were endless. With each meeting, each conversation, and each story shared, our community became a beacon of inspiration. Together, we were charting a course towards something truly transformative, an ongoing movement that championed art, creativity, and the voices of individuals who dared to dream. As I settled down at the piano one quiet evening, finger hovering over the keys, I felt an overwhelming gratitude for this journey. It had started with a simple desire to share music, and now had blossomed into a beautiful symphony of voices, a testament to the power of connecting through art. With renewed determination, I began to play, each note resonating with the hope and joy of what lay ahead. Our community was on the brink of something remarkable, and I was honored to be part of this incredible journey, one that continued to unfold with every story and every note played, echoing the message that together, we could create a better, more connected world. Chapter 18, Building Bridges. The excitement of our growth propelled me into a new phase of creativity. With planning underway for our outreach initiatives, I felt invigorated by the idea of bringing our community's stories to a wider audience. I envisioned workshops not only for music, but also for storytelling, creative writing, and visual arts, encouraging everyone to find their unique voice and share it with the world. As we expanded our offerings, we reached out to nearby schools to introduce our programs. I prepared presentations and gathered materials that highlighted the impact of music and art on personal development. I wanted to convey how creativity could serve as an outlet for self-expression and resilience, and I was determined to inspire students who might not yet realize their potential. The first school I visited was a vibrant place, filled with students bustling from class to class. As I entered the auditorium, I was greeted with skeptical yet curious faces. I reminded myself that I had once sat in their seats, unsure and hesitant about the world ahead. After introducing myself, I began sharing my own journey, the laughter, the challenges, and the moment I discovered the transformative power of music. I could see a flicker of interest in their eyes as I spoke about my experiences and how my community had shaped my path. Music has the power to bridge our differences, I explained, gesturing broadly. It can connect us to our emotions, our stories, and each other. Everyone here has something valuable to contribute, no matter how small. Your voice matters. Hands began to rise, students wanting to share their experiences. Stories poured out, each narrative resonating within our shared space. The auditorium transformed into a sanctuary of vulnerability and connection. In those moments, I knew we were planting seeds of creativity and confidence. Encouraged by the positive reception, we scheduled follow-up workshops. I now had a group of eager students ready to delve into writing, music, and art, eager to express themselves. Every session became a joyous exploration, with students crafting songs and stories that reflected their lives. As the weeks passed, I became more involved in their journeys. I offered guidance, support, and encouragement. I saw firsthand how creativity began to break down walls, foster friendships, and spark newfound confidence within each of them. One afternoon, while working with a group of students, I met a boy named Nathan. Initially shy, he hesitated to share his work, but eventually revealed a song he had written about his family, a heartfelt ballad that spoke to his hopes and fears. I encouraged him to perform it during our next showcase, and I watched as his eyes widened in disbelief. "Do you really think people will want to hear it?" he asked, uncertainty creeping into his voice. "Absolutely," I replied. "Your story deserves to be heard just like everyone else's. Trust me, there's power in sharing your truth." That evening, Nathan took the stage nervously, clutching his guitar. As he began to play, his voice quivered at first, but the moment he found his groove, he transformed. The raw emotion in his song captivated the audience, and by the end, they erupted into applause. I could see relief and joy spread across his face, unfolding into a smile of triumph. In the days that followed, the feedback from that night resonated throughout the school. Nathan's story inspired others to share their own, leading to a cascade of creativity emerging from the students. With each showcase, I witnessed individuals stepping out of their shells, bridging the gap between their experiences and their art. Feeling the importance of this evolution, I initiated a partnership with local artists and educators, uniting forces to create an annual arts festival that would highlight the students' works. Our goal was to turn a simple idea into a multifaceted celebration, one that would underscore the vibrancy of our community while inviting the world to see the talents being nurtured. As we began organizing the festival, excitement rippled through the schools we visited. I began receiving notes from students and parents alike, sharing how inspired they felt by witnessing their peers' journeys and the connections being made. I recognized that we weren't just empowering individuals, we were igniting a community's collective spirit. On the day of our first annual arts festival, the atmosphere was alive with anticipation. Families filled the park, with booths set up displaying artworks, crafts, and musical performances. The diversity in talent was striking. Students introduced their works, celebrating the richness of their journeys through art. I looked out over the crowd, kids chatting, parents snapping pictures, each face radiating excitement. The stage was set, adorned with colorful decorations and strings of lights. As I took the mic to welcome everyone, I could feel the vibrant energy pulsating from the audience. Today, we celebrate creativity and our shared stories, I began. Every one of you plays a vital role in this community. Let's honor the voices that have come together to create something beautiful. The cheers ignited the atmosphere, and I felt an overwhelming sense of unity and hope. The performances that followed were filled with laughter, tears, and powerful expressions of identity, love, and resilience. One standout moment occurred when Nathan took the stage once more. His confidence shone brighter than ever as he presented a new song, one that encompassed his growth since our first showcase. The audience's response transformed him, empowering him to embrace his voice fully. With every act, I saw students stepping out of their comfort zones, inspiring others to join in. The ripple effect of our collective commitment to creativity and connection was manifesting beautifully before my eyes. As the festival came to a close, people gathered around the stage to dance, celebrating the art and the connections made throughout the day. The warmth of community enveloped me, and I marveled at all we had built together. Moments later, as the sun began to set, the vibrant colors painted the sky, a reminder that even in the twilight, there was beauty to be found. I stole a glance around the park and felt an overwhelming gratitude for every person who had contributed to this journey. Our movement was growing, weaving deeper into the fabric of our community. I understood that this was just the beginning of an ongoing legacy, a testament to the power of creativity, love, and the resilience of the human spirit. And as the music swelled around me, I felt a renewed determination to nurture these connections, to build bridges, and to continue fostering a community where each voice could echo freely. The journey ahead was bright, and I embraced every possibility waiting to unfold, one story, one note, and one connection at a time. Chapter 19, New Horizons. After the success of the Arts Festival, our community's momentum showed no signs of slowing. The day had brought together not only students and families, but also local businesses and community leaders who shared our vision of fostering creativity. They reached out, eager to partner with us for future initiatives, and I felt a spark of excitement at the possibilities. One evening, as I sat with a group of students, we brainstormed ideas for expanding our reach. I encouraged them to think big. What if we created an exchange program with other communities, allowing us to share our music and art while learning from theirs? The thought of connecting with other young artists filled the room with a palpable energy. One student, Marcus, raised his hand. What if we had a community tour? We could perform at schools and parks in different neighborhoods to celebrate our stories. Brilliant idea, I exclaimed. Encouraging ideas like Marcus was vital as it showcased the power of their voices. The thought of touring brought another layer of excitement. If we could share our stories further, we could inspire a ripple effect across various communities. We set to work planning the Voices on the Move tour, brainstorming a list of neighborhoods we could visit, partnering with schools and community organizers along the way. Each performance would not only include our music, but also workshops, exhibitions, and storytelling sessions that would engage the audience and foster connections. As we prepared for the tour, I found myself reflecting on how far we had come. It was astonishing to think that just a few months earlier, I had been in a small room teaching music to a handful of curious students. Now, we were poised to take our voices out into the world, ready to share our narratives and experiences with those who needed it most. Finally, the day of our first performance on the tour arrived. The excitement bubbled over as our group gathered early in the morning, loading equipment and supplies onto a van. A sense of camaraderie surrounded us as we set off, armed with dreams and instruments. As we arrived at our first destination, a local community center, families began to gather. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement. I felt a rush of adrenaline as we set up our stage. This was our chance to make an impact, to connect with individuals who might have faced challenges similar to our own. As we performed, I basked in the vibrant exchanges between us and the audience. Cheers erupted with every song, and as we shared our stories, I could see the connections forming. Faces lit up as they related to the experiences we sang about, feeling a sense of belonging and understanding. After our set, we transitioned into workshops, inviting participants to share their own stories through music and art. The room buzzed with energy as people picked up instruments and shared their experiences. I watched as a young girl named Mia, initially shy, discovered her voice while playing along with a group of students. Her laughter filled the air, and I felt a surge of happiness knowing we had created a space where she felt empowered to express herself. Each stop on our tour brought new surprises. In one neighborhood, we met a talented group of young dancers who intertwined their movement with our music, creating a profound synergy that elevated our performances to new heights. In another, we collaborated with visual artists who painted murals while we played, transforming our shows into immersive artistic experiences. As we traveled from one community to the next, I learned that our connection was not limited to simply sharing our art. It was about fostering conversations and building relationships. I encouraged students to lead discussions, share their insights, and advocate for the importance of expressing individuality through creativity. One evening, after a particularly impactful performance, I spoke to a group of parents who wanted to express their gratitude. "Thank you for giving our children a voice," one father said, his eyes shining with emotion. "We've noticed a change in them. Their confidence has blossomed. They're no longer afraid to share their stories." His words resonated deeply with me. This was precisely what we had set out to achieve. Empowering the next generation to embrace their narratives, cultivate creativity, and connect with others was at the heart of our mission. I felt a renewed commitment to nurture these voices, ensuring they had the tools and platforms to express their truths. As the days of the tour unfolded, I was continually inspired by the resilience and creativity of young artists across communities. Each story shared was a reminder of the strength found in vulnerability. The art we created together became a vehicle for fostering compassion, empathy, and deeper understanding. Eventually, we returned home, exhausted yet exhilarated. Our journey had deepened our bonds, expanded our horizons, and cultivated a sense of family among us. I looked around at the faces of my fellow artists. Students who had once been timid had transformed into confident storytellers and creators. With revitalized energy, we began planning a final showcase, inviting every community we had visited to join us in celebration. This would not just be our farewell to the tour, it would be an affirmation of the connections we had forged during our journey. On the night of the showcase, I arrived early to greet everyone. The atmosphere was electrifying, familiar faces mingled with newcomers, and the anticipation was palpable. As I took the stage to welcome everyone, my heart swelled with gratitude. Tonight, we celebrate the journeys we've undertaken together, the stories we've shared, the art we've created, and the bonds we've formed, I declared. This event isn't just ours, it belongs to every community we've visited. We're here to honor every voice, every story. The crowd erupted into cheers, and I felt an overwhelming sense of belonging, the realization hitting me that we had created something profound together, a movement fueled by creativity, art, and shared experiences. The performances that followed were a breathtaking display of talent and authenticity. Each act echoed the themes of connection and resilience. As students took to the stage, I witnessed the culmination of their growth over the past few months, no longer simply sharing their art, but embodying their journeys. As our final act concluded, and the thunderous applause filled the room, I was struck by how far we had come. Together, we had built a community that celebrated creativity, embraced diversity, and empowered individuals to share their truths. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "This is just the beginning," I said, feeling the weight of both the journey and the future before us. Let us continue to support one another, to share our stories, and to cultivate a space where all voices are valued. The symphony of our community is growing, and every note matters. With that declaration, I could feel the spirit of unity wash over us. The journey had taught me so much about the power of connection, and I looked forward to the new horizons that awaited us. All we needed to do was continue to play and share our stories, one note at a time. Chapter 20, Echoes of Change. As the excitement from the final showcase settled, I found myself reflecting on the powerful impact we had made. The momentum we had built together was not just a series of events. It had transformed into a movement of change that echoed through our community. Every handshake, every shared story, and every note played formed a resonance that could not be diminished. In the weeks that followed, the inquiry about our program continued to grow. I received requests from other neighborhoods interested in similar workshops and showcases, eager to replicate what we had built. This was both thrilling and daunting. How could we ensure that our values and mission translated seamlessly across different communities? We held a series of planning meetings to discuss how we could expand our outreach while preserving the core essence of what made our program special. I wanted to ensure that each community had ownership over their narrative, while still benefiting from our collective experience. One afternoon, as I sat with my core group of artists, I posed the question: how can we take everything we've learned and share it in a way that honors the uniqueness of each community? Zara, whose confidence had grown immensely, suggested, what if we created a toolkit? It could include activities and resources that help other communities launch their own programs while allowing them to include their local stories and cultures. The idea resonated deeply, and we set to work. The Voices Toolkit would include guides on organizing workshops, facilitating discussions, and curating showcases. More importantly, it would emphasize the significance of listening to and making space for each community's own voices. As we developed the toolkit, I reflected on the importance of adaptability. Each community was different, each story unique, and I wanted to ensure that the core principles of creativity, connection, and empowerment remained at the heart of our mission. After several weeks of collaboration, we finalized the toolkit. It was vibrant, filled with illustrations, personal anecdotes, and exercises designed to foster creativity. I felt a surge of pride as we prepared to launch it. We scheduled a community meeting, inviting those who had been part of our journey to come together, review, and share feedback. On the day of the meeting, I watched as familiar faces filled the room, bringing with them an energy that was palpable. I shared our vision for the toolkit and watched as they eagerly flipped through the pages, their eyes lighting up with ideas and possibilities. With every comment and suggestion, I felt our community's commitment strengthen. It was inspiring to see the ways people wanted to adapt the toolkit, tailoring it to their individual neighborhoods while still drawing on our collective experiences. It was not ours anymore, it had become theirs. Encouraged by the enthusiasm in the room, we finalized the toolkit and announced its official release. It felt like a celebration of our shared journey and the potential it held for others. We reached out to local schools, community centers, and organizations, excited to see how they would interpret and implement the toolkit. As the toolkit circulated, I began to receive feedback from various communities. One local organization shared their success in using the toolkit to launch their own arts program, while another expressed gratitude for the resources provided. Each message reminded me of the ripple effect we had created, our stories thriving and inspiring change in different neighborhoods. With our focus now shifting toward fostering partnerships, I proposed we host a conference to gather creative minds, artists, educators, and community leaders to discuss the role of art in social change. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and together we began planning a day filled with workshops, panels, and collaborative showcases. On the day of the conference, I stood with my fellow artists, ready to welcome participants from various neighborhoods and backgrounds. As they filled the auditorium, I could feel the electricity in the air, a collective excitement for the conversations that would unfold. Throughout the day, we tackled essential discussions about the role art plays in community building and personal expression. I shared stories of our journey, emphasizing the importance of listening to diverse voices and uplifting those who may feel marginalized. During a breakout session, I facilitated a workshop on finding your voice. Participants shared their stories and engaged in creative exercises, allowing them to explore their unique narratives. I was reminded of the power within each person, the capacity to express vulnerability and strength through art. As the conference came to a close, we hosted a showcase featuring performances from participants who had come together to share their stories. I felt a rush of pride as I watched individuals step onto the stage, their confidence radiating as they played, sang, or recited poetry that echoed their truths. The audience erupted into applause with every act, the energy in the room a tangible reminder of what we had built together. After the final performance, I took a moment to reflect on the day while standing at the front of the stage. Today, we've witnessed the transformative power of creativity and community, I said, my heart full. This is just the beginning. Each of you has contributed to something significant. Change begins in our stories, our connections, and our art. Let us continue to lift each other up and amplify our voices. The resounding applause affirmed the commitment to keep the momentum alive. As attendees began to mingle and share contact information, I felt a wave of hope wash over me. We had created a space for collaboration, fostering connections that would go on to spark new initiatives and spark ideas across communities. In the weeks following the conference, I remained in touch with several participants who expressed interest in forming partnerships and collaborating on projects inspired by our discussions. I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what was to come. One evening, as I sat at my piano, I reflected on the journey that began with a handful of students in a small room. Our community had evolved into something extraordinary, a tapestry of interconnected stories that would continue to grow. This journey was not just about the music. It was about fostering a culture of creativity, resilience, and understanding. It was about ensuring that every voice found its place in the world, unearthing beauty through art and genuine connections. As I began to play, each note felt imbued with purpose. I envisioned a future filled with new possibilities, more collaborations, more stories to share, and more communities to connect with. The echoes of change were just starting to resonate, and I was excited to see where the music would lead us next, one heartbeat at a time. Chapter 21: The Harmony of Growth. The weeks following the conference flew by, filled with fresh collaborations and vibrant discussions. Excitement bubbled in the air as we organized follow-up meetings with various community organizations eager to implement the toolkit's ideas. It became clear that the momentum we had created was gaining traction, expanding our network of artists and advocates. One afternoon, while preparing for a workshop at a local high school, I received a call from a nearby city's arts council. They had heard about our program and proposed a partnership that could bring our initiatives to even more communities. The idea of collaborating on a larger scale thrilled me. It would allow us to share our stories and values far beyond what I had initially envisioned. After a few meetings, we agreed to co-host a series of workshops and showcases, expanding the reach of our model. The thought of sharing our experiences while learning from others was invigorating. Each new partnership presented a chance to learn, grow, and further our mission of fostering creativity and connection. As we prepared for the first workshop in this new partnership, I involved our group of students in the planning process. I wanted them to feel empowered and invested in this expansion. Together, we brainstormed ideas on how to adapt our activities for a diverse audience while encouraging their unique contributions to shine. On the day of the workshop, I felt a mixture of excitement and nerves as we arrived at the venue. Students from different schools mingled, sharing their experiences and artistic interests, creating an electric atmosphere filled with curiosity. I stood back and watched as my students began connecting with new faces, forming bonds through shared creativity. The workshop unfolded beautifully. Through music, storytelling, and collaborative art projects, participants explored their unique narratives and transformed them into artistic expressions. I facilitated discussions that encouraged deeper connections among the groups, emphasizing the importance of vulnerability in artistry and the strength found in sharing our truths. At one point during the workshop, a shy girl named Ava stepped forward to share her poem. As she recited her lines, her voice trembled slightly, but there was a fierceness in her words that captivated everyone present. Her poem spoke of self-discovery and resilience, and by the end, we were all moved. The applause that followed echoed her courage, reinforcing the power of storytelling. After the workshop, we encouraged participants to showcase their creations. I felt a rush of pride as students took the stage, each sharing their unique works. The atmosphere was filled with laughter, realization, and connection as they celebrated not only their art but also each other's strengths. This was what I had envisioned, a space for voices to intertwine, creating a harmonious expression of community. As the workshops continued, I developed a deeper commitment to ensuring that our students felt empowered. They were not just participants, they were leaders in this movement. I began involving them in planning future workshops, letting them take charge of certain segments, encouraging ownership of their creations. Meanwhile, the partnership with the Arts Council flourished. Word spread about our collaborative efforts, drawing attendance from neighboring cities eager to witness what we had built. Each event became a mosaic of stories, a colorful blend of diverse backgrounds that together created a rich narrative. In one of these workshops, a young musician named Josh surprised everyone with his remarkable talent. He played guitar and sang with a soulful passion. Inspired by his performance, we invited him to lead a segment teaching others basic guitar techniques. Watching him step into that role filled me with excitement. He quickly became a source of encouragement for younger students looking to explore their musical abilities. As we continued organizing these workshops, I initiated a special project, a community mural where participants could leave their mark through art. The mural became a vibrant tapestry, representing the diverse voices that contributed to our causes. Each stroke of paint symbolized a story, a dream, or an experience shared within our group. One weekend, as we gathered for a day of painting, I watched as children and adults alike joined forces, laughing and sharing their artistic visions. The mural became a focal point, a testament to our commitment to inclusivity and collaboration. It was a joy to see how art could bring people together, transcending barriers and sparking conversations that would continue long after we had finished. As the mural neared completion, we organized a grand unveiling that would serve not only as a celebration of the artwork, but of the community we had built. We invited everyone who had participated in the workshops, community leaders, families, and friends. The anticipation swelled as the day approached. On the day of the unveiling, the park buzzed with excitement. Live music filled the air as performers took the stage, showcasing the diverse talents from each corner of our community. The vibrant hues of the mural stood proudly behind them, a visual representation of the powerful stories that were woven into our collective tapestry. When it was time to unveil the mural, I took a moment to speak. This mural symbolizes our unity, creativity, and the strength found in sharing our stories. It serves as a reminder that every voice matters and every story is worthy of being told. As the cloth dropped away, the crowd erupted into cheers, and I felt the energy of hope radiating from the audience. After the unveiling, families gathered around the mural, taking photos and engaging in conversations. It was inspiring to see the connections forming, people from different backgrounds sharing their experiences and creative aspirations, united by the artwork that represented our shared journey. As I mingled among the crowd, I caught up with Ava, who had read her poem in one of the workshops. She beamed with pride. "I didn't think I could ever share my writing like that," she said, her eyes bright, "but now I feel like I can do anything." Her words resonated with me, and I realized this was what it was all about, empowering individuals to embrace their voices, to see the strength within themselves. Our work had created a ripple effect as stories and talents intertwined, resulting in a thriving community bound by creativity and understanding. After the celebration, I reflected on the journey we had embarked upon, from a small group of students finding their voices to becoming a powerful movement of collaboration and connection. The energy I felt reminded me of the importance of community, of the magic that happens when people come together to share and create. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the mural, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for every individual who had contributed to this journey. We had built bridges together, and the echoes of our stories would carry on, inspiring future generations to embrace their creativity and connect through art. I realized that our journey was far from over, it was simply evolving. Together, we would continue to explore new horizons, nurturing creativity in every corner of our community, leaving lasting impressions wherever we went. The melody of our shared stories would carry us forward, resonating into the future, one action, one connection, and one dream at a time. Chapter 22, The Legacy of Voices. As the weeks flowed after the mural unveiling, the excitement didn't fade. Instead, it transformed into a commitment to continue our journey of creativity and connection. The mural became a landmark in our community, a symbol of the voices joined together in a shared mission to celebrate art and storytelling. Inspired by the success of our initiatives, I wanted to solidify our impact further. During one of our planning meetings, I proposed an idea that had been forming in my mind, a community arts festival that would showcase the diverse talents of artists, musicians, and storytellers from different neighborhoods. This would be a grand celebration of unity, art, and creativity, inviting all walks of life to join together. The proposal was met with enthusiasm. Ideas began to flow freely, with everyone contributing their thoughts on how to create a memorable event. We discussed workshops, live performances, art displays, and opportunities for participants to share their stories. The collaborative spirit that had fueled our journey shone brightly, igniting a unified vision for what this festival could become. As we began planning, I reached out to local businesses and community organizations for support. Many were eager to jump on board, believing in the power of what we were building together. We secured partnerships that would enhance the event, providing resources, venues, and promotion to reach a wider audience. In the weeks leading up to the festival, the energy was palpable. Our group organized art stations, invited guest speakers, and arranged stages for performances. They designed promotional materials and reached out to local media, spreading the word about our mission to celebrate art and community. Excitement was infectious, and involvement in the planning spread beyond our core group. As the festival date approached, more families and individuals came forward to participate. The sense of ownership and pride grew. Everyone wanted to contribute, share their talents, and celebrate their stories. The day of the festival dawned bright and warm. With the sun smiling down on us, we arrived early to set up. Tents fluttered in the breeze as volunteers placed art displays, sound equipment, and food stalls in place. The park transformed into a vibrant tapestry of color and life, filled with the sounds of laughter, music, and anticipation. As attendees began to gather, I felt my heart swell with pride. Families explored the art exhibits, children dashed between booths, and smiles lit up the faces of attendees from all walks of life. This was the beauty of community, people coming together to celebrate what made them unique while recognizing the threads that connected them. Opening the festival, I took to the stage and raised my hands to quiet the crowd. Welcome, everyone. Today, we gather to celebrate our creativity, our stories, and the power of community. Every voice matters, and together we can create a beautiful symphony of art. Cheers erupted, and I smiled, energized by the excitement in the air. The festival kicked off with lively performances from local musicians, their sounds blending together in a joyful celebration. I watched as students took the stage, showcasing not only their talents but their growth over the past months. As the day unfolded, participants engaged in various workshops, learning to paint, write, or play instruments. I moved between groups, witnessing the joy of creativity unfolding in real time. Conversations flowed, laughter rang out, and the atmosphere was alive with inspiration. A special highlight came when everyone gathered in the afternoon for a collaborative performance. Each group contributed a piece, poetry, music, and dance, all harmonizing beautifully. As they shared their creations, the power of storytelling flooded the space, igniting connections that resonated in every heart. One poignant moment occurred when a young girl named Sophia shared her story through spoken word. As she recited her poem about finding her strength amidst challenges, the audience listened in rapt attention, a palpable stillness surrounding her. The vulnerability in her words struck a chord, and when she finished, the crowd erupted into a heartfelt applause, acknowledging her courage. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, we shifted our focus to the evening performances. Families gathered on picnic blankets as local bands took the stage, drawing everyone into the rhythm of the music. I caught myself lost in the moment, overwhelmed by the beauty of what our community had achieved together. Under the stars, we wrapped up the festival with a shared commitment to continue nurturing and celebrating creativity. I invited everyone to take a moment to reflect on the connections they had made and the stories they had shared, creating a lasting bond among us. As the evening came to a close, I stepped off the stage, filled with gratitude. The festival had been a vivid tapestry of celebration, a testament to the power of community and the stories that bring us together. I felt our collective heartbeat echo in the air, interconnected and alive with possibility. In the days following the festival, I received countless messages of appreciation and inspiration. People from all walks of life shared how the event had affected them, how they had felt seen, heard, and valued. As photos and videos circulated on social media, I was filled with joy, knowing we had sparked a movement that transcended boundaries. Reflecting on our journey, I realized that we were creating a legacy, a culture of creativity, connection, and empathy. Each individual's story and contribution mattered, enriching the fabric of our community. We had transformed from a small group into a powerful force for change, elevating the voices of those traditionally overlooked. With renewed determination, I began envisioning our next steps. We had laid a solid foundation, but I wanted to ensure its sustainability. I proposed establishing a community arts committee comprised of students, parents, and local artists to oversee future events, ensuring the continuity of our mission. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Together, we would create something lasting, a collaborative effort that would ensure our community's voices were heard for generations to come. The committee would empower individuals to take ownership and foster creativity, providing a platform for artistic expression. In the months that followed, our collective began organizing ongoing workshops, monthly showcases, and outreach programs. The Arts Committee drew in more families, volunteered to lead initiatives, and fostered a sense of belonging that continued to echo throughout our neighborhoods. As I stood on the stage at one of our monthly showcases, looking out into the vibrant faces of our community, I felt immense pride. The bond we had cultivated was strong, made up of countless stories waiting to be told. We had built a legacy of voices, and I knew that this was only the beginning. As the music swelled around me, I realized we had created something beautiful together, a symphony of stories that would carry us forward into the future, reminding us all that together, we could empower one another, embrace our creativity, and continue to weave our narratives into the fabric of our shared existence. The echoes of change were just starting to reverberate, resonating through every heart in our community, one story, one note, and one connection at a time. Chapter 23, The Journey Continues. As the months rolled by, the rhythm of our community's artistic journey became a comforting cadence in my life. Equipped with the foundational framework we had laid together, I watched as the committee blossomed into a vibrant collective, bustling with enthusiasm and creativity. The projects we pursued were diverse, a colorful bouquet of ideas stemming from every corner of our community. I saw students leading workshops for younger kids, sharing their skills and passions. Artists organized open mic nights, inviting everyone to contribute, regardless of experience. The spirit of collaboration fueled each new venture, creating a marvelous sense of belonging that infused our gatherings with joy. One sunny Saturday, we planned our first ever Art in the Park Day. This event would invite the entire community to come together for a day filled with art, music, and storytelling under the open sky. Families could set up picnics, artists could display their work, and performers could take to the stage, creating an atmosphere that celebrated our collective creativity. As I arrived at the park that morning, I felt a wave of excitement and gratitude wash over me. The energy was palpable as volunteers set up booths, arranged the stage, and decorated the area with colorful banners that reflected our shared identity. The mural we had created stood proudly in the background, a testament to our journey. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, attendees began to wander in, smiles brightening their faces as they explored the various art displays. I watched as families gathered around artists painting live, children diving into crafts, and musicians warming up on the stage. The park was transformed into a vibrant tapestry of stories waiting to unfold. When it came time for the first performances, I took the stage to welcome everyone. Thank you all for being here today. This day is a celebration of our community, of our stories, and of the incredible power of art to connect us all. Let's embrace this moment together. The applause that followed felt like a warm embrace, reassuring and uplifting. The performances that followed were filled with passion, excitement, and authenticity. One standout was a collaboration between Ava and Josh, who had been working on a song together. Their chemistry was infectious, and as they sang, the audience swayed, lost in their melody. As the day unfolded, I made my rounds, engaging with attendees, listening to their stories, and witnessing the magic of connection. I chatted with a mother who expressed her gratitude for our initiatives, sharing how her son had gained confidence and joy from participating. "You've created a space where creativity flourishes," she said, her eyes shimmering. "Thank you for believing in our kids." Her words resonated deeply within me, affirming the impact we were making. It was moments like this that reminded me of the profound importance of what we were building. Each story, each voice mattered, contributing to the beautiful mosaic of our community. By the time evening fell, the park was a sea of lights, laughter, and music. As the last act of the day took to the stage, a talented local band, the energy was unmatched. The audience danced freely, celebrating the culmination of our work, the connections we had forged, and the stories we had shared. As I stood to the side, taking it all in, I felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over me. We had created something special, a legacy of voices that would inspire, uplift, and empower those around us for years to come. The bonds formed during our journey were now woven into the fabric of our community, strong and enduring. As the final song played, I stepped onto the stage, joining the band for an impromptu performance. The crowd erupted in cheers. As we played, I could see the faces of children and adults alike illuminated by joy, their spirits resonating with the music. We were no longer just individuals, we were a community, a family united by our stories and shared dreams. After the last note faded, I took a moment to express my heartfelt thanks to everyone involved. Thank you for believing in this vision and in each other. Together, we've created something powerful, and I can't wait to see where our journey takes us next. As I basked in the applause, I knew this wasn't the end, but merely a continuation of our journey. We had built a foundation that would support countless stories and talents, a symphony of voices echoing the values of creativity and connection. As the night wrapped up, I looked around at the joyful faces, filled with hope and anticipation for what was to come. I felt the warmth of our collective spirit surrounding me, a promise that together we could create a brighter future, one fueled by art, understanding, and compassion. With each passing moment, I understood the transformative power of our stories, stories that would inspire generations to come. As we moved forward, I was ready to embrace every opportunity, every challenge, and every new connection. The journey would continue, and I was honored to share it with all the remarkable voices that composed our community. Together, we would lift each other up, forging ahead into uncharted territories, creating a legacy that celebrated the beauty of our shared humanity, one note at a time.